Welcome to Be Truly Heard with me, coach and voice expert Anne Leatherland. If you're a woman in business looking to speak with authority, warmth and authenticity, this is the podcast for you. We'll explore valuable personal growth strategies alongside vocal skills, so you can overcome confidence barriers and communicate what's inside. Your voice matters. It's time to be truly heard. Hello and welcome to this episode of Be Truly Heard with me, Anne Leatherland. If you're on YouTube, you'll have the pleasure of seeing my new short haircut. If you're listening on audio, of course, you won't see that. But what better excuse to go across to the YouTube version of the podcast and have a listen. Anyway, today's guest is someone I've had the pleasure of working with several times, and I can honestly say that he's never disappointed me. I'm joined by the wonderful Matt Glover, a brand photographer who helps business owners capture images that genuinely reflect who they are and also what their businesses stand for. That's why he's such a great fit for this series, Showing Up As You, ... We're doing showing up as you in the picture, if you like, today, because showing up authentically isn't just about how we sound when we speak. It's also about how we present ourselves visually. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and I hope you are too. And it would be great for our audience if you can just tell us a bit about your photography and how you got into doing brand photography work.
Yeah, well, funny enough, I when I first was freelance, I was a wedding photographer. So I suppose that was very much about looking after brides a lot. Obviously, everyone else, but predominantly, from my point of view, brides. So I think I won a Muddy Stiletto Best Photographer Award, and I started working with a marketing person, and that marketing person suggested that brand photography might suit me as well. I didn't even really know what the term brand photography at the time. So as I kind of like got into it a little bit more, funny enough, it was about 5 months before the pandemic. So I pivoted my business, luckily, 5 months before wedding photographers all got their work just like dried up. So luckily I was a bit ahead of the game. And it was just such a wonderful fit. And I think because I haven't got married, which is absolutely okay, by the way. But I think working with business owners, me being visible and getting myself visible on social media for to kind of get the right clients and connect with the right people, I felt it was a bit more of an authentic role for me to do because I'd done that. Whereas, of course, photographing people getting married when I haven't, the support was different, but the support that I will give is probably more suited to a business owner because it's on the same level as me. So that's kind of how that began back in 2019.
Wow. So you're quite right. I mean, you don't have to be married to be a wedding photographer,
No,
but
you don't.
but I understand it from the point of view of you feeling it being right or not for you and
I think with the
authentic.
marketing and me talking about it all the time, I think because it wasn't massively important to me, it feels a little bit authentic that I'm, pouring all this like, oh, love and it's like, oh, but really, actually, I'm more into my business than kind of
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah, excellent. So I know, Matt, that when you are doing your work, you make sure that you hold space and listen to people. Because thinking about me, when I first had some brand photos done with you, I didn't know what to do. I felt so silly. I mean, I've never been one to like having my photograph taken. And now here I am sitting and doing videos and all of that. But
Oh,
I
I think it's
remember,
amazing.
I know the very first time I had a website, going back quite a few years now, the thought of putting my own photograph out there was really traumatizing.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I mean, showing yourself when you're not really used to it,
yeah,
it brings up all sorts of things that are kind of can be bubbling from all parts of our lives, can't it, really?
it certainly can. I think we're all more used to it now, and especially since the lockdown, aren't we? When we were driven
Yeah.
online
I
and
mean, yeah, well, we were driven online, weren't we? It was the only way to connect, wasn't it? Because we
yeah.
were like, stay at home, stay at home.
And since social media has become so prevalent as well over the past few years, it's like everybody's a film star now, isn't it? We're all we're all there doing it. But I know that there are still people out there who worry about it, and certainly on video where they have to speak as well. But to start with, if you're trying to promote your business, you could really do with some nice images. And I know that a lot of women in particular dread that.
Yeah,
And so tell us a bit about how you hold the space and listen to what people want, because I know that you do that.
yeah, I think asking a lot of questions and trying to figure out what it is, if people do feel unsure about it. Like some people don't want to smile, and it sounds really silly, but some people I think they're expected to just go and say cheese, and that can be the most. I'm thinking of one particular client that I helped with this, and it felt like it was quite life-changing for her. And the review that she gave me afterwards. Um, it was a bit like she wasn't in any of her family photos before we did that shoot, and because I didn't make her smile, and she's very very quirky, and I just encouraged her to be herself. And there was we were working with her designer at the time, and her designer was saying, "You're not going to make her smile," and I kind of said, "Can you can you shut up, please?" And that moment of me saying, "Hang on, don't tell her what to do," was the moment that she respected me and she realized that I'd listened, that she doesn't want to stand around saying cheese, and she trusted me. So actually, and we worked together time after time after time after that. And now she's present in her family photos. And actually, she just wasn't anywhere. She wasn't documented anywhere. But it just took me to say, you don't have to do that.
Mm.
Who you are is absolutely great. And it was just beautiful. I didn't really even realize that's what was happening. But I think when someone tells you what they need, and then the average world is saying, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. It doesn't help. Like, so
No, it doesn't.
I'm the person, one of my brand values is human-centered. So I listen to the person, not what the world's telling us that we're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing. Because if the world's telling you supposed to do this and you're uncomfortable and you don't do it, you're then not doing the thing that you need to do. So it's figuring out like where people's pain points are, I suppose, and what makes them, or sometimes it's what makes them feel uncomfortable. It could have been they've had one photograph taken by someone or their friend, where kind of like they're in the background, and your friend doesn't care, just care about what they look like, and they can think that their chin's a terrible shape, they can think their profile's terrible, and there's sometimes these small occasions can ripple through their whole lives, and they think they can't, they think they're not photogenic. Yeah, so it's very interesting. Sometimes it can take just a couple of minutes of talking and like, what is it that you don't like? They tell you, and you can say, "Oh, okay, well, I'll show you some shots that we've taken and we'll look at it and we'll figure it out." And then you've instantly got someone that now trusts you and realizes that all these years that they thought they couldn't be photographed, they can.
They
So yeah, it's
can.
very beautiful.
I mean, it's true, isn't it, that if you take a still image, it's just one fraction of a second in time. Usually, when we're speaking to people, we're moving around. They see various facets of us. I'm just moving my head now on the video and looking at different angles. Even
Yeah,
movie stars have good sides and bad sides,
they do.
where
They
they just
do.
look a little bit better, or, it feels more like them. And of course, we're all used to looking in the mirror and seeing ourselves in mirror image. So our brains are telling us lies all the time because, in a sense, that's not really what we look like, but that's what we're
Oh,
used to.
the things sometimes that go on the back of our minds and what ourselves tell us,
Yeah.
it can be quite destructive, can't it?
Absolutely, and it's the same with our voices. We don't sound like we think we do, so when we hear ourselves on a recording, we hate it.
Oh, it's taken me a
Uh,
lot of years. I'm okay with my voice now, but I've had a lot of years of like that can't be me, but it
yeah,
is.
but it is, and it's the same with photographs. We never look like we think we look in the mirror, and that's because our brain is making the image up for us, really. And I did a few events recently and had some stills taken by various people, and I thought, note to self, don't be photographed sideways, Anne. It's not very flattering when you're in full flow
Well, this is
speaking.
it.
And
But also sometimes, depending on what the occasion is, the photographer, it might not be important to make you look really good, which is why I suppose a brand photographer is there for you to address all of your things as opposed to an event
exactly, to
photographer.
make you look the best
Different.
that you can. And without showing up in terms of posing. So it's about showing up as they are naturally. And a lot of professionals, I think, worry about looking stiff or awkward, don't they, in
Yeah.
photographs? So how do you work once you've broken the ice? How do you work to make things feel natural and reflect the person?
Well, it's quite a process, really, and it's funny to talk about it out loud. I suppose as I'm getting to know my clients, I start to notice their mannerisms. So then, when I'm kind of photographing them, I will kind of we'll create a scenario, or wherever we're going to photograph. It could be kind of like if we were going for a walk, for example, it was by a river, it would like you'd set the scene, you'd look where the light is and the natural light, so that you know all that's absolutely fine. And then you'd kind of, it's what I would do. I kind of then kind of get my client to kind of behave in a way that I've already noticed they have.
Mm.
Sometimes it involves me suggesting something quite silly. It might be like, oh, just look over my shoulder. Oh, you've just seen a friend. Oh, it's a friend that you like. You like them a bit more than that. And then, because you're kind of bombarding people sometimes, they can just start laughing, and that can be the moment. But because I've kind of set it up so the light's right, and it kind of, and I'm kind of looking at things like, shapes and faces and where how people are leaning. And then I capture a shot, and then what I can do is I can say, "Oh, look, this is what that looked like on the back of the camera." And then when it's the shot and that you like, and it's like, "Oh, he knows what he's doing." So then, in that kind of instant, you kind of realize that actually I am there to help you, and I'm there to capture the best. Like you really almost didn't know what had just happened.
Mm.
I'm kind of experimenting and guiding it, and it's this process of building this trust with you. So then when you realize, so then basically anytime it's just I'm just going to walk down there, you're going to lean against the tree or stand there, and it's like you realize that there's thought behind it, and then you kind of just do it because you know there's purpose.
I'm just smiling because we got up to all
We've
sorts
been
of
there,
daft
we've been there,
things,
haven't
didn't we? I
we?
mean, I remember singing a song and
Oh, and that was
bringing the
quite
tree
magical.
branches over my head
It's just
to look
lovely
like
because I think because we kind of made friends, haven't we? So
we
I think
had. I mean,
when
I
you were
can be a
telling
bit
the
silly
truth,
anyway, in case anyone's listening thinking, oh my God, he sounds completely off the wall. No, that was just me. That was me in the
yes.
way I went for it.
But I suppose the wonderful thing about that is, we went for a walk and actually you knew that you could just do whatever you like. So you kind of messed around a little bit. But actually, it's in my interest to capture and document that because it's
Yes.
you being your real self, feeling comfortable enough to do it. And you use those images quite a few times, haven't you? And it shows your
I've
real
used them lots of
personality.
times. I mean, we took some very lovely, what you might call more, they're never formal, but I'm trying to find the right word, more usual images and
Yeah, so
professional
things that you could
looking
use for a
images
headshot that you could use
for
as
headshots,
as
yeah,
like
but
a
in a
profile.
lovely environment. And we were by the river actually, and it was the most beautiful day
Oh,
last
the
time.
light was gorgeous. Yeah.
And the light was gorgeous. And then we also did some things just for fun. And those are great, I think, for expressing yourself on social media if you want people to see another side of you. But the
Exactly. Yeah,
thing is,
'cause you might-
it's all
sorry.
truthful to my personality to do that. Other people might not want to. Just like the lady you spoke about who didn't want to be smiling all the time. And you can still take very nice photographs. I mean, I know that I was delighted with mine when I looked at them and I thought,
Oh,
oh yeah, I can look quite good.
it's
And I
so
can
lovely.
look
It's so
like
lovely when
me.
you can take someone, go on like a little journey, kind of create a friendship, and also what comes out of it is like, but you're growing in that experience as
Yes, you
well.
are.
And that's the bit that I like the most, actually. So sometimes the people that hate having their photograph taken the most are the ones that I actually like working with because they're the ones that I can make the biggest change with. And actually that
Yes.
feels good for me.
Yeah, I understand that. And again, in terms of my work with speaking, just to move people that little bit further on where they accept their own voice and like it a bit more and they know that it's a good part of them.
Yeah, because the thing is, you
And
can't change it, can you? It's not going to change at any point. You can't have a quick operation and
no, you
da-da.
can't make your larynx bigger or anything or change the length of your vocal cords.
But you can
You
change your
can,
thinking about it, perhaps, can't you?
yeah, you can learn to use it differently, and that's the same with the way you stand, the way you look at the camera, the way you just let your own personality out for the visual, isn't it? So, I mean, yeah, we can change odd things about how we look, like me and the haircut, or you could lose a bit of weight, but you're still ostensibly you, and that's what the camera is going to capture if it's in the hands of someone like you who knows what they're doing. They're going to capture you as a person, which is ideal.
Yeah, and I think because obviously every photographer is different, but I really, really want my clients to connect with their images because
Yeah.
like a lot of photographers don't. And I'm on a mentor program at the moment, and they were saying like, do you show the images on the back of the camera? And some people were saying actually I don't, and actually, it's one of my absolute strong points. I think because it's that buy-in from the client and that building that trust. You don't
Mm.
necessarily have to do it for the whole session, but I think
No.
it's essential just so that even though I take great pictures because you'll have seen them like on LinkedIn or whatever, actually seeing yourself, and obviously I'll show you one that I believe is what we're trying to capture, and it just kind of cements, oh no, we're doing our job properly, even though we're having fun, but we're getting good images. And it's just that really beautiful balance I find.
It is, and I think it puts your mind at rest. Certainly at the beginning of the shoot, when you see a few images and you think, oh, actually, they're quite nice. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
they're,
'cause
I'm
I'm quite
coming
playful.
across quite
I
well, you
suppose
know?
I think sometimes like are people taking me seriously? Because it might seem like I'm like not jumping around, but I'm quite a bouncy character. And I think sometimes it's like, does he really know? I've had people saying kind of like, "Oh, where did you hire this person?" Which is really rude. But also what
Where
they're
did
saying
you
is
what?
like,
Sorry, say that again.
I photographed events before where people have said, especially when it's me having a bit of a laugh, and people have said, "Where did you find him?" Just, when you think, I'm doing my job properly. But
Yeah, yeah,
this
there's
is
no
why for
point being
me,
po-faced, is there?
no, no, but I think people sometimes expect, well, they expect all sorts of different things. So I think sometimes if you're having a laugh or enjoying yourself, I think it's really important to show, look, we might be enjoying yourself, but look, this is what we're capturing, and the quality has to be really high. And for me, it has to show personality. So I drop my guard and have a bit of a laugh so that actually other people can drop their shoulders and be themselves. It's part of a process that I think onlookers might not understand. Do you remember we bumped into some there was a couple of
It's
ladies and they
just
were
on
like,
our
"What are you
shoot,
doing,
yeah.
Anne? What's going on here?" And of course, there's me with my camera and you posting in trees, and we
I,
must have looked like a pair.
we were
But
by the river, I think, and I was standing there and I was just giving my hair a quick comb in between pictures, and they were just watching, weren't they? Thinking this is all
your
very
reaction was really funny.
strange.
You immediately pretty much eye rolled straight away, and I was like, "Okay, as long as that's where we are, that's fine."
I mean, they can see what's going on. You're just having some photographs taken.
Oh, but
So,
people don't understand that actually showing up in your business. If you haven't got a business, they probably think it's like, who does she think she is
I
having a
know.
photographer following her around?
So I'm the
I'd be
next
quite
Kate
used to
Moss,
that.
me, you know.
Exactly. It's like this is important. Shush.
But
But that is one of the strongest memories from that shoot, and it was really funny because
oh,
it
it
kind of
was
it
just
cemented
fun.
us in our little bubble even more, didn't it? It was like
Yeah,
we're working really hard. We're working really hard to do a good job, actually, regardless of what it might look like.
it was just such fun all the way round, all the way round. Which brings me to your energy and your creativity. And you've just had a journey for yourself, haven't you, with ADHD?
Oh, have.
Tell us a bit about that. We'd never guess.
Oh God, I suppose a bit of anxiety on here is making me even more like that,
Oh,
probably.
sorry.
But no, that's okay. I'm just trying to make sure I say everything right. But yes, during lockdown, I suppose just after I'd kind of like pivoted and kind of started the whole brand photography thing, I decided to write a cookbook. And it was a very, very stressful experience. I mean, I loved it, and the book got printed, and I'm so proud of that book. In
And
fact,
it's lovely. It's a wonderful book.
it looks like this. It looks like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry
Hold
about
that up
that.
again so people can see it a bit more closely. There you go.
There we go.
There
I
we
mean,
go.
part of that was about showing that actually you can use brand photography in a lot of different ways. I used it to become a cookbook author. I used photography to photograph recipes, and I wrote all my favorite things in there. I did everything inside out. And part of that was to show, like, I'm not a chef. Uh, I wasn't a food writer. But actually, if you use photography well, if you pick a goal and you kind of say, right, I'm going to do it, that was not achievable, and I committed in my own head to do that. But I felt like I wanted to stand out from every other photographer because there's so many photographers. And I thought by doing something that was big for me, it shows to my clients that I work with, you can do big things as well.
Yes.
And I personally thought that was quite a beautiful thing. Anyway, I'm off topic, aren't I?
No, 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 it's fine. I just want to comment on that and say for those of you listening just on the audio, we'll put a link to that book in the program notes because it really is wonderful. There's some fabulous ideas in there. And it's beautiful as well to look at.
Oh,
And
I
I
spent a
think,
lot of time on it.
yeah, you did, but we all need a challenge. And I think especially in those days of lockdown, which are what, 6 years ago now? I
Oh my
can't believe
God.
it's 6 years ago. Where did that time go, you know?
Well, I
But
mean, yeah, I got my head in the kitchen.
was it during that time that you became aware of the ADHD, or was it
Yes.
before that? Did you know? Did
But
you sense
I,
it?
I think in my life, I thought if I was ever sat down with a psychologist, they would have some notes for me. But I didn't ever consider necessarily what those notes might be about because I think I suppose I've always kind of grown up thinking if I can solve my problems or if I can solve the way I work, do I really need to be asking for help? Because I quite, I like myself. So it's not kind of like there's anything wrong with me that I need to fix.
Mm.
But finishing my book, I think it was in 2023, like all the contents were finished. But of course, I hadn't neglected my business, but I hadn't been marketing it as much as I suppose I ideally would had I not been writing the book. So that had kind of was been a bit affected. And I was really just really stressed about the whole experience of I didn't know like who I was going to get it edited. I didn't know how it was going to get like typeset and all the design and all everything cost thousands of pounds,
Does, yeah.
thousands every part of it. And I hadn't got that money, and I was just in a really 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 hard place. And I've never been to the doctors before about my mental health. But one of my friends said, Matt, just promise me you're going to go to the doctors. I think they just thought they were going to give me some pills or something, and it's just like everything will be. But of course, I spoke to the doctor, and they said, "Oh, that sounds like ADHD." So of course, then stuck me on a waiting list for 2 years, which
Of course.
was a long time. Considering you go to doctors for help for something, it's like
I think
just
it's
wait
longer
there.
now.
It is a lot. No, I spoke to people that 3.5. I think it's up to 7 in some places.
Yeah.
But obviously, I did lots of research in the period of time when I was on that wait list, and and it did help me. But also, what I didn't expect was when I did go through the diagnosis, only last October, November, something massively shifted. Which actually, when people say, "Oh, people don't need to be diagnosed," and it's like, but the thing is, it helped me. I forgave myself for all of everything that I didn't really do wrong anyway. But like,
I know what you
for
mean.
the for the most average person, and it helped me just get on with my other stuff in life and helped me like myself more. And that sounds really dramatic, but that's a big change. So if there are waiting lists and people aren't getting seen, and that when they already know almost what the thing is, and it's not actually a big process. It only took about 50 minutes, but it was so helpful for me because it's allowed me to kind of I suppose structure how I work and even how I plan a shoot and the amount of hours that I might work, and actually focusing more on the like personal brand photography and working with clients one on one, as opposed to like weddings, for example, where there's lots and lots of people and drunk people that are all trying to talk to me at the same time,
All those
and
different energies.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. And actually, you don't realize until you go through it and learn about ADHD why some of those things have been quite difficult and why you've maybe reacted in some quite difficult situations that maybe made me look not like the best and most professional person.
Mm, mm. So it's been a positive thing after all, having the ADHD
Yeah.
diagnosed and knowing where you are with it.
Yeah, I mean the creative part of it for me has been just like I love being creative. I don't massively like the admin behind it. But of course I have to find ways to do that. But even after I finished my cookbook, there was a selection of products that I sold at Christmas markets that last year, which was the second year that I sold it at Christmas markets, became like a deli range.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's got a brand name called Jarred and Dangerous. And I realized that taking those to Christmas fairs, it was so good for me because at the point when I was diagnosed, it was like, do you want to go be medicated? Which is another year wait, which is just complete eye roll. But doing Jarred and Dangerous at these Christmas fairs, I don't know why, and I didn't expect it, but it was like that was almost what medication might like. It just really completed. I was really stressed out before doing that, but being creative and selling those products with my book and just talking about these things, it reminded me all of these things that I do and can do that other people are not doing or maybe don't have access to that creativity.
Yes. And I think wherever we are with ourselves, ADHD or not, we all have things that we can do, and we all have our own unique vision of the world that we can bring to the fore when we're communicating and when we're being seen as well,
Oh, I'm
because it's
liking
all
the
part
link there,
of
by
it.
the way.
Are you liking that little segue?
Yes, yes, that was magic.
Thank you. Okay, so just thinking about that, see what I did there? We can think about the body and being seen. And sometimes, I work with people whose body respond in a way that just holds tension. When we feel seen or judged, that happens, doesn't it? And I see these clients and their breathing changes and their voice tightens. Do you notice similar physical reactions when someone first steps in front of the camera?
Yes, breathing, funnily enough, is an interesting one. If I'm doing a headshot and I've got very little time and there's just a shot that I need to get, my standard go-to that I just I didn't I kind of made it up, but then I think I learned afterwards that there is science behind it. I just get people to just take a deep breath. If I just say like so, just take a deep breath and then just smile when you exhale. So you just kind of go. Because if you capture that smile, because there's energy flowing, it's
Yes.
real. If you get people to say cheese, and after 10 seconds, people are like, oh, I nearly said the F word then. People are like, basically, leave me alone. But if you're like this for ages, like it's like you can see on their face they're going, what are you doing? Why am I smiling like this?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it doesn't look happy. So that breathing exercise actually really connects people to just like their shoulders drop and they have a moment where they're
And
just
just get a
themselves.
nice deep breath.
Yeah.
The breath is central to a lot of this, actually. It's central to a lot of our nervous system regulation, as well as the way we feel and the way that we speak and the way that we show up in other ways. And this series is all about showing up as you. And I'm really interested in the connection between how we look, how we sound, and how we feel inside. From your experience of working with so many business owners, what do you think helps someone to truly show up as themselves, both visually and personally in their work?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's that word empowerment, isn't there, which is bandied around all over the place all of the time. But I think if you genuinely are listening to people and who they are and what they do and encouraging that, it then connects them to a like-minded audience, which is then means they start to notice that their people are talking to them.
Mm.
Actually, I think when you're then connecting with the right people, it's like, oh, it works. I'm okay. I'm allowed to be me. Because you have to remember, like a lot of people are not going to want to be photographed by me, and also I don't want to be photographing the people that don't want to be photographed by me. I want to photograph the people that do want to be photographed by me. So actually, by me being present, I'm attracting those people, and it's like a happier space, then, isn't it?
It is,
Could you
absolutely.
remind me of the question to make sure I have answered it or
No,
have
no,
answered
that's fine. How do we help people to show up truly as themselves? I think it's also to build their own self-belief. I find that. And that's what you do when you show them a couple of the photos going round, isn't it?
if
So
you
they
do at the
think, oh
beginning,
yeah, I am
it
okay. I can show
yeah.
up in this way. And I would do the same with my work. So if there's one piece of advice that you'd give to someone who wants to show up more confidently in their business, both visually, I suppose, and vocally, what would it be?
Um, I would say just being in environments, whether it's photographer or whoever, that you feel seen and you feel comfortable, so
Mm.
that so that you can say if something feels uncomfortable, you can say it and it's not a big deal. Like they can hear you. So I suppose it's being around the right people. That's what I would say. And also, if you're asking for advice, ask advice from people that do understand what they're talking about, not maybe, someone that's walked past by the river that is thinking, what's Anne doing, having a photographer run around after her? You know what I mean? Like maybe ask a fellow business owner that understands the sticking points that you have.
I think that's absolutely vital. I mean, very often we get thrown off course because of things people have said, and we take those critiques. And one of the first
They could be
things,
throwaway comments. They could be from not
exactly,
thinking, and it might not mean anything, but sometimes we can grab onto these things and they can stay with us for our whole lives, can't they?
yeah, but also if they really are critiques, to say, well, first of all, is this person who's making these comments qualified to actually make them?
There is a saying, would I have asked that person for advice?
Exactly.
No. So why would I be taking it?
Why
Whatever
would
they're
I be
saying.
taking it? I think we always have to think of that. I think I've done a podcast on that
I
somewhere in
like
the
that a lot,
70 odd
actually.
episodes. I think this is as I've gone through. But anyway, Matt, thank you so much. That's been so useful to know about your ethos and your way of helping people. And we'll put all your details in the
Oh,
program notes so people can look you up. And I, of course, will highly recommend you because I absolutely love the photos that you've taken for
oh,
me
I love that. But it makes it
across the
really special.
years.
It makes that really special when, when you can connect that, because it's like, again, it's like the connection that we've got to your images, which, yeah, it's beautiful.
It is, it is. And I just felt completely relaxed all the time we did that. Well, after the first 5 minutes when I was a bit sort of, oh, I've got to have a photograph taken, that sort of thing. But thank you
Like,
very
come on, we're
much,
doing
Matt.
it anyway. So,
Yeah. Anyway, so overall then, we're learning in this series this it's more than one thing in terms of showing up. We need to be able to use our voices. We need to be able to show up visually and connect all of those things together so that we can be integrated, I suppose, in what we do. And so next time, join me when my guest is Karen Curtin, and we'll be doing Showing Up As You on social media. How do you get your voice, in inverted commas, out there on social media? And that may involve actually videos and things like that as well. So join me in a couple of weeks when I'll be talking to Karen. For now then, have a good fortnight, check up on all Matt's links, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Be Truly Heard. If something landed with you today, share it with a friend or leave a review. It really helps more women to find their voice. Want to go deeper? Join my email list for exclusive tips, resources, and invitations to events. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, remember, your voice is powerful. Let's make sure it's truly heard.